Today I'm going to be talking to a guy named Donovan Tolbert who took his coaching business from $0 a month that was brand new all the way to $20,000 per month in just 59 days, and he's going to share all of the secrets as to exactly how he did it. All right, so welcome everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we have Mr. Donovan Tolbert here, who has achieved some pretty ridiculous results to say the least. And how long ago did you start the offer that you're currently running with the consulting business?
Yeah, man. So, what's up, everybody, by the way? So I've started about 59 days ago now at this point.
59
It's
days
been
ago.
somewhere in the
So
range.
that's when you started working with me. And then you started actually like the outreach systems, right, to book the meetings. That started like mid-December, like right before the break, right? That's when
I
you
say, yeah, it was probably like around 30 days because it was just a warm up period, of course, that we had to go through and
Okay.
everything. I was getting everything set up and all that. It was kind of like the warming up before you actually go race. And,
Yeah.
yeah, it's probably around mid December, man. It's been about a month now, I'd say, that
That's
I've
really
only been
cool.
running the systems. Yeah.
Okay. So for you guys, some context, Donovan started this brand new offer, and we'll get into his backstory in a second about like where he comes from and like kind of what he's like good at, right? But he started this brand new offer. Joined me 59 days ago. We built out the offer, built out like the entire infrastructure for the business, like all the appointment booking systems, the sales systems, like how we're actually going to do this, right? And 30 days actually doing the marketing, and he's had four $5,000 contracts for his coaching program, which is insane, like starting from nothing. So I'm really curious to see because like obviously that's not like a normal result. Like I'm not promising that you're gonna get 20K in your first like 60 days. Like that's typically like a result that most people see like 20K per month at like 6 months, but you managed to do that in one. So I'd be very curious to see how that's different, and maybe that's even good feedback for me as like how I can actually do that on purpose now, to help people get that in such a short time frame and more consistency, or and more consistently like in that shorter period of time. But dude, you've absolutely knocked it out of the park. So yeah, I guess I'll open the floor to you, man. If you can just give a little bit of an intro about yourself, like who you are, like who you help, kind of your like what you actually do, like what's your offer, who do you help, that all that kind of stuff. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, of course, my name is Donovan Tolbert. So my background is that I'm a motivational speaker. So I speak to like schools, students all around the country, and just to kind of give you guys a preface, I because I was doing with because I was speaking in schools the way that I was like my only method really of like marketing was just through email, cold email. That was like the main method of marketing. And I just
Mm,
remember that, my first year in business, I found, a tool that like was great. I used that tool, but bought some inboxes and things like that. Sent emails out. It was going great for like the first first year, made six figures as a motivational speaker, was super excited about that. And then from there going into year two, I'm thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, we're gonna like double the amount of like outreach that we're doing. Things are going great. And we're
mm,
going to year two, and things get even better. I double my business. So in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to keep on doubling this thing because the
yeah.
more activity I double, the more money I make. And then this is year three for me. Like starting year three was in August of 2024. And, had that same mindset. Then I doubled my activity from the previous year, but then like I was getting like a fraction of the results. And already,
Mm,
when you start making this money, man, you're gonna start building this lifestyle, and you're like, all right, cool. I'm gonna buy a new house. I'm gonna do this. You kind of have in your mind, like, all right, things are going this direction. This is how things will be. Kind of like TikTok. You think
yeah.
that TikTok ban, things just change, right? So for me, I ended up, things were going down. I was booking probably somewhere around like 2 to 3 appointments a day in my motivational speaking business,
Yeah.
and this was, for that first 2 years. But then going into the third year, I was probably booking one a month.
Mm.
So you can only
Yeah.
imagine, like, would you freak out
Yeah.
if you
So is
were?
that like, yeah, I'm curious, was that like a sudden just like drop? Like it went from like two a day to like one a month, or was it like gradual?
It was, I would say, pretty gradual.
Yeah.
It was somewhat gradual. It was like gradual, then skip. It was weird, and like
Mm.
for me, I kind of changed things up a bit. What I was using wasn't working as much, so of course, that first month, I'm like, okay, it's not going as well as we thought it would go. Maybe we should look into other avenues. Then I
Yeah.
tried, going on to like social media, probably just reaching out to people, posting stuff was kind of my mindset was just like, hey, maybe if I just use attraction marketing, that will actually help me to be able to scale a little bit. Tried that. And I hear this story all the time. People are like, man, posting does not work the way that people think it does. So I started reaching out to people using my own like scripting that I would, create and make up to people. And
Yeah.
that wasn't working. And at this point, as a business owner, I'm literally freaking out because I'm like, how many more months of this has to go by before I lose everything and have to go back to a nine
So,
to five job?
so when this was happening, right? When all this was happening, when things were like going downhill, like what was like the point at which you're like, okay, this is not like just a down month. Like this is a problem. Like when did you start like losing your shit?
Yes, great question. So it was, man, it was probably so August is when we started launching again. I'd say sometime around, man, really like end of September, beginning of October. Because it was just like, okay, it's been about 30, 45 days or so. Like, we got to start
Yeah.
figuring some stuff out. Because I got like employees at this point. They got to
Mm.
get paid. I got business expenses as well. And then from there, it was around like the end of August where I told myself, I was like, okay, cool. I can't just rely on one stream of income for
Mm.
my business. So I'm going to start a coaching business. Right. So I told myself, if I start a coaching business, then I can just work with people one on one with other motivational speakers, teach them some of the things that I've, been successful with and some of my systems and things like that. And went ahead and did that. And of course, you're in the startup phase. You're still trying to figure things out. Still needed to like set up, a bunch of like foundational systems and things like that. And then from there, that's when about 30 to 45 days in, I did get my first coaching client, which was great. It was
Yep.
just one client over the course of like 2.5 months of just kind of figuring things out, but it just wasn't working out. It was just coming too slow. And
Yeah.
then I came across, I was just looking stuff up. How do you do this? How do you do that? I'm really good at researching. How do you, reach out to more people on social media? What are some best strategies? And I came across this guy, right? Funny looking guy named Josh Hewitt
Uh-huh.
on YouTube, right? No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. But I came across Josh on YouTube. He just posted a video, and I just remember that video.
What
I
was
think
that
the video was
video?
like about Xandy or something like that. Like I just looked at it and I was like,
The
oh, this looks
LinkedIn
actually
one.
pretty
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
You put a link under that video. I clicked it, and boom, the offer comes up.
Mm.
And your offer is probably one of the most bold offers I've ever heard in my life. At the time, it was 120 appointments. I guarantee that I'll book you 120 appointments and 100. Or I'll teach you how to book 120 appointments in
Yeah.
120 days.
Link in the
Well,
description, by the way, for this.
that
For
again.
this, the link in the description if you want to see this offer, by the way. Anyway,
That's it.
continue.
Yeah, look at the description. How about
I'm
that?
just messing around. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That
Yeah,
was just a
I'll
promise.
slide you over the money after this, Donovan. Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, I'm messing around.
Right? But
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I saw that and I was like, whoa, that's bold. And at the same time, I'm freaking out. And then from there, I was just like, you know what? It's
Mm.
not going to hurt to at least just talk to the guy. You know what I mean? Like it made sense to
Sure.
just speak. And I was open minded. So we hopped on that call. And maybe I'll stop there. Maybe you want to know some details. I don't want to
Yeah.
go tell the whole part. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was curious, like what was that like? Because you joined me in like late November,
Yes.
and you said like late September is when you were starting to have that like onset of like you even said like maybe I have to go back to a 9 to 5,
Yeah.
right? Like what was that like in that like 2 month period? Like what was that feeling like?
It was like
Because I
chaos,
think a
man.
lot of
It's,
people
it's
are going
so
through that.
it's so crazy. I would say this. The feeling was
Yeah.
like, and if you guys know what this feels like, the feeling was like rewalk, like trying to rewalk all over again. Like I don't know, I'm 31 years old. It's like you're walking for all your life, and then from there, you do the same thing. You try to get up, but your muscles aren't strong enough, and you like keep falling to the
Mm,
ground. And like it's just like, what is going on right now? Like I've been doing this. It's been successful. I know what to do. I know the
right.
routine. I had a normal routine, but so it was like asthma. Like that's what it felt like for my business, trying to just gasp for air when you know how to breathe, right? So
Mm,
I was freaking out. I mean, it was just chaos, and I just started, you start having these thoughts of like, man, am I gonna have to shut my business down? Was this just a dream? Was this just something that I did for a good 2 year period, and then now I have to go back to
yeah.
reality? Like these negative thoughts start to enter your head, and if you're watching this, you guys know what I'm talking about. Those
Mm,
negative thoughts as an entrepreneur or business, it hits hard, and like for myself, I had to do something different. And here's the thing for a lot of people is that like, your business is probably either going through the same thing right now, or you haven't even gained traction to be able to say that your business has success. And you have these dreams in your head
mm,
when you go to bed at night, when you hit your head on the pillow of like, man, I want X result. I want to get from where I am currently right now to a certain place that you dream about. But yet we need to fill in the gap some way and you have to do something different. And that's the reason why
yeah.
for me, I'm running out of money and when I met with Josh, I mean, I knew it was going to be an investment, but something had to change, or else it was going to continue being the same way.
Yeah.
And that was the
And that's
mindset. That's why I changed.
I like that analogy of like having the muscles and then like they're not working anymore. It's like that one story of that like that person who he was like dumb and then he got this like thing that made him intelligent and then it like dwindled away and it was like that was like it was better not even to have it in the first place.
Yes,
Because I
absolutely.
know like you were like with the speaking business, like you're traveling all over the country, and you're able like I'm at like 3 appointments, 2 to 3 meetings a day with like people who want to pay you like a high price, and then it's just
Yeah,
like it's gone. So I can
yeah,
only imagine like what that what that's like. But I want to another thing that's interesting is because obviously like you're pretty well versed inside of like appointment booking. Like you've like when I got on the call with you, like I was talking about all these like different like technical things with like email and like LinkedIn and like I just outreach in general. It's like you know all this stuff, right?
yeah,
And I think
yeah,
there's a lot of people in the audience that are like they understand like how the stuff works. Like they know like how to set up an email, like make sure it doesn't go to spam. Like they know how to like to some extent write some copy, but maybe not maybe they're just not getting the exact like they feel like they could accomplish more, right? And I'm just curious with your position because I'm sure like when we were on that call, you probably maybe had I mean, I don't know, right? Maybe you had some thoughts that were like, oh, maybe I could do this on my own. Maybe I could figure this out on my own. I guess I was wondering like what made you want to jump in and work with me anyways.
yeah. That's such a good question. So, and you're absolutely right. I'm so glad you asked that question because I just remember what I was thinking when I met with you. We started getting technical. Like we probably went deeper than a lot of
Yeah.
different conversations you have with people. We were talking about all these different tools, and I was like, "Yep, I know that tool. I used to use it. Yep, I
Yep.
know that tool. Used to use it." And I started to kind of feel like as I was on the call, I was like, "Well, maybe this guy doesn't have something to teach me that I don't already know." And then like I
Hmm.
had this kind of mindset of like that, what you call a teenager mindset. Like the kids, everybody knows that teenager that like all teenagers do
Yeah.
this. Your parents try to teach them something, and they're like, "Oh, I know, mom."
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, they don't know
Yeah.
because you know there's a different level to what you're talking about, and they haven't
Hmm.
even been to that level. Whenever a teenager says, I know, they don't really know. And that's
Yeah.
kind of how I was. But what actually made me move forward, really, I would say this, man, was your offer. Like, it was the fact that what I was going through, I had a little bit of pain in my, not a little bit, I had a lot of pain in my life. But
Hmm.
on top of that, you had an offer that, and again, I'm not like a guarantee guy, like, hey, I'm going to ask for
Yeah.
my money back type stuff. But because of what I was going through, it was needed, right?
Yeah.
And at the time, you mentioned that you would, you don't get paid, and I was like, well, I mean, if I don't lose anything, if I don't win, right? Like the consequences for me winning, if everything goes exactly how we planned it to go, like then I'm going to get out of this rut and out of this situation for the coaching business side, right?
Yeah.
Because I can build that business and then from there continue going. But if it doesn't go the way that I want it to go, my worst case scenario is that I'm just at square zero and I need to
Yeah.
figure something else out. So for me, that it provided that safety net to just know that you know what, I'm going to go ahead and take that risk. And then on top of that, like even our conversation, you let me just say this: there's levels to this. You
Yeah.
may think you know something, but you don't know what you don't know. You don't even know what you don't know. There's a whole different realm that
Hmm.
that I learned, and I was really savvy when it came to tech and all that.
Yeah.
And when I met you, I could just hear the language. I could hear you diagnosing what I was currently doing, and then you gave me some strategies on the call to help me to figure out, like, what things I need to kind of tweak and whatnot. So it was not only the offer, but it was also your knowledge on the processes that I use and a little bit more that gave me the confidence to say, you know what, this kid knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Like this is not a game. He takes it seriously. He puts effort into this thing, and this is like Josh's life. I just felt that on the call, and I was like, you know what, I'm going all in. And for me, it was an
And
all in decision, and
yeah.
I'll never look back.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a really key point that you mentioned that you don't know what you don't know. And often that's the biggest bottleneck that people have, right? Like you have a problem and you've been stuck in your business like at the same revenue level or wherever you're at for like 6 months, and then you come up with these different ideas. It's like, oh, I just need to like like this new like whatever is going to be like the like this new automation software is going to like change my life. It's like, oh, I need to go start like a whatever, right? Like all these different things that like people
Yeah,
are trying to tell you. It's like you just need this one, you just need this one thing, and then you get fixated on that, and it's like this is what's gonna actually solve this problem that I'm in. But a lot of the times you don't know, like you don't have enough information in terms of like what the solutions actually are, and you just are sold this like one solution like this. Like if you, like if you start like this business model, like this is gonna like if you sell this product, this is gonna be it, right? But it's a lot of different things, and most of them you don't see unless you talk to someone who's already solved them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and that's like the biggest thing. Like a lot of people, and it's funny, right? Because like a lot of the time you sell people like the like what they want, right? But
Yeah.
you need like it's you they need that, but it's a lot more than that, right?
Yes.
Like
Yep.
we'll get into the actual like how you got the results you did with the program. But if I just gave you like the LinkedIn automation and the script, like you probably like you wouldn't have seen the same results, right?
Yes.
Because there's a
Absolutely.
lot because like none of that works if you don't have the right offer. None of the offer works if you don't have like all these like foundational things. Like there's so many people I talk to. Like if I were to just to sell like the idea of like, hey, you need this offer, like no one would work with me, right?
Yeah.
But when they actually start implementing it, and once they actually can see, it becomes very clear, like,
Yes.
oh, this is actually what I was missing this whole time, right? And then obviously the
100%.
automation is just going to make your whole life a lot easier and faster for whatever you
100%.
want to do. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense, dude. And I know you said you're in like I guess like a difficult spot, like financially, when you did decide to invest and join the program. So
Yeah.
I would imagine that that was like how were you feeling like right after you made the decision to do this? Like
Yeah.
I would imagine you were probably like freaking out a little bit.
It's a good question. Yeah. So I think the feeling after just going and doing it, like I would say, I'm gonna be honest, there was a part of nerve. I was like, man, because like you see all this stuff online, like these
Yeah.
guys, like people nowadays. Here's the thing: people get so good at marketing, but not so good delivering,
Yeah.
right? And there's this kind of like feeling that you have in the back of your mind of just like, man, like I kind of had this feeling of like, did there was a part of me that was like, hey, I had to do this. Like there was no choice. And there was a part of me that there was a little bit of doubt as well too. So for the people that are doubting, like I'm speaking directly to you, the ones that
Mm,
are on edge, like I was right there. I was literally in the seat, and I just remember thinking to myself, is he somebody that's really good at marketing, or is he somebody that actually delivers? But then there was
mm,
another part of me that was like, well, actually, our phone call helped me to give me some confidence. So it was just a mixture of just like good and bad, yin and
yeah.
yang. And at that point, it was just faith. And I'm just going to speak life into the people watching as well as
Mm,
yourself. Like miracles are not possible without faith.
mhm.
I got to run that back one more time.
And this
Miracles are
is
not possible without
yeah, so
faith.
this is a that's really key and I'm really glad that you brought that up. So
Yeah,
when you jumped in like and this is why like you got such good results in such a short period of time because you are like bar none, like you showed up to every single call like twice a week. You were asking me questions for like probably an hour or more, like every week, like recording these like 30-minute looms of just like questions. And like I have never seen anyone with
yeah,
the like you were all in, right? And I know there's like some people who even join the program and they're like half in, right? They're like, well, we'll like run like we'll see if this goes, and we'll try it out for like a
mm,
couple weeks and just like maybe I'll put this email in place like in like 2 months or whatever. And some like they don't have the mindset of like I am gonna make this work. And I
yeah,
think you were in a position where you didn't have a choice. And I think that was really a big factor into your success, but also it speaks something about your mindset. So can you
yeah.
tell me a little bit about that in terms of like yeah, in terms of like why and how you were able to get results so quickly?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, yeah. And I want to just preface something that you just mentioned before I get into that. So, like you mentioned, just like how like the mindset behind it. Here's what I truly believe. Like everybody may not be in the scenario that I was in, where I had to figure something out. I truly believe that if you're that person though, that's like, hey, I don't really have the money. I'm gonna say something that is gonna be so backwards, and it probably is gonna feel weird hearing this, but when you don't have what it is
Yeah.
that you're wanting, for example, like the money to be able to invest into the program, and like your back is against the wall, that is
Mhm.
actually when you're most dangerous.
Yeah.
When you got $1 million sitting in the bank and you're like, you know what I'm saying, high ticket offer, no big deal, whatever the case is. That's actually when you're like, for example, when a lion eats, when a lion eats, he is the least dangerous ever because he's already comfortable, he's full. goal, essentially.
Mm.
When you know that there's something there, you know that there's another level, you know there's something somewhere you want to be, and
Yeah.
you're hungry, and there is some type of consequence, whether it be financial, like where you currently are right now, or some of you guys may be thinking like, "Oh, I don't have a consequence for me. I'm not in that position." Yes, you do. You want your business to succeed, and if it doesn't succeed, how are you going to feel? So
Yeah.
like there's a consequence to everything. So you just have to
Yeah.
tap into that consequence and ask yourself, if life goes how it's going for the next 4 to 5 years, what is life going to look like for me and how is it going to feel?
Mm.
That's for me something that I like operate. I operate in that area. It's so weird. I operate in this like fear-based area that
Yeah.
keeps me going. I don't operate in like oh my goodness, I want to be able to hit all of my dreams. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, that's always needed, but I truly
Yeah.
feel like to explore success, you have to operate in your nightmares. And here's what I mean by that. You'll run faster from a pit bull than you would to a Ferrari.
Mm. It's true.
And that's real. So, anyways, I had to just say that because like that's where
Yeah.
my mindset was. But as far
Yeah.
as like how I was able to be successful in that 30 days, which my mind is still blown at this point as well too, just so you know.
Yeah.
Man, honestly, this is gonna sound crazy, but man, you set up everything, checkpoints, like pretty much insurance policies. If this fails, you have a foundation to be able to make sure that it
Yeah.
doesn't. You have like KPIs, you have everything set up. I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest. All I did was just continue with what you had laid out, and I just
Yeah.
stayed consistent with it and made sure that I wasn't late on any of the checkpoints that you've given, and I
Mm.
did that. And that's why I was able to get the results that
There you
I
go.
get. There was no like magical thing that I did. I literally just tried.
Yeah.
Just did the work. Show up to the call. Show up and ask questions if you're
Yeah.
stuck. Like get unstuck as soon as possible. Make sure you're continuing to move forward if you're doing that. Josh has literally laid this thing out so he's done so much back end work to make sure that the thing is like riding a bike with training wheels almost.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, it
Yeah.
feels
I
just
see
like
it a lot of the time, kind of like like you're trying to tread through a forest to get to the other side, and then like the path is just clear, so you just have to walk through.
gotta walk through.
Yeah.
I mean that's there's no secret sauce. There's no like, oh Donovan did this. Brother,
Yeah.
I just followed everything that you said. Like, I mean, every time you answered a question, I went and executed. It was the combination of this. Like something I always say is that like in order to be successful, you have with people, you have people that are called left leg learners, and you got
Mm.
people that are called right leg burners. Left leg learners are people who want to go to all the seminars, look at all the YouTube videos, the people that want to read all the books and just
Yes.
learn, but they don't do anything.
Mm.
But then on the other end of the spectrum, you got the people who are right leg burners who they just continue to run, doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, but they never
Yeah.
learn how to do it better. And I
Yeah.
truly believe to explore success, you have to be what's called a left leg learner and a right leg burner. Because when you walk with your left leg, right leg, left leg, right leg, you're
Mm.
more likely
There
to
you
get
go.
to the destination rather than hopping on one leg the entire time because then you'll get tired and burn out.
Yeah.
And for me, that's all it was, brother. Like I just learned what you said,
Yeah.
went and
You've
did it,
you've
and
used
from
you've
there,
used that analogy in multiple speeches, haven't you? Yeah.
absolutely, bro. People love that. Like, it's
Yeah.
life.
I
That's
love
what
it,
it's
dude.
all about. Just like literally follow the path that's been set out for you. Stop
Yeah.
trying to reinvent the wheel, and that's what I did. And bro, I'm not shocked, but I am shocked that it
Yeah.
happened the way that it did. And I'm just so happy that we met and like we're tapped in for life, just so you know.
Oh yeah.
So like
Yeah.
you already know, man, you've helped out my family and honestly my generations after that because this is just the
Yeah.
first month. I can't wait for the next 12 months
Yeah.
as I begin to ramp these things out. And I haven't even fully applied all of the systems you've talked about, man. I probably applied every bit
Yeah.
of 35% of it, which is
Yeah.
scary,
So
right? Because I locked in on one.
yeah. That's one thing that I was curious to know. So in terms of the actual roadmap, like you said, you just like follow the steps, right? Can you like maybe give the like, give everyone some sauce? Like what's like the actual like what are the things that you did? And then how like yeah, I guess like how were like how do we help with that? Like what were the actual like what were the checkpoints that you
Yeah,
had to
I
go
mean,
through?
yeah, we can go deep. Like, so, like, let's get some thoughts. So, like, for me, LinkedIn is a gold mine. I
Mm.
slept on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
honestly, man. And I'll just say this, like, for myself, there's a system that you use called, the sniper system, basically. And like for myself, being able to keep track of being able to keep track of where you are in every single step of the process is what really helped me out as well too.
Mm.
Tracking that, I never tracked it. For me, it was always just like write a good script, send those messages out. People are going to be interested. People are not going to be interested. But like, and then the follow up process was maybe one or two messages because I didn't want to like annoy people. Man, I'll say this: the secret sauce that you give is the follow up system,
Mm. Yeah.
following up 5, 6, 7 times. Like in my mind, I was like, there's no way in the world you're gonna follow up with somebody and they're gonna book after you followed up with them 5 times, they're obviously going to get annoyed with you. And there was this like negative
Hmm.
mindset that I had around that.
Yeah.
But just on LinkedIn alone, tracking every step of the process. Then from there, you have follow ups for every step of the process, and then from there, being able to just follow that. Like for me, like the follow up is the goal. That's where the fortune is, and I've heard that before, but you took it to a new level, and I think that's where
Yeah.
we're most successful. Honestly, is just using the follow ups that you've helped lay out for us,
Yeah.
so that we can make sure that we're not losing leads. Because like, how many people that are watching this call have ever like let leads slip through the cracks because they're unorganized? Right? That's something for
Exactly.
me that has happened a ton. So with the system that you give, that sniper system is so powerful on LinkedIn. Like I'm
Yeah.
seeing, so you know, like I don't know if you do this, Josh, but I'm seeing a 10% appointment booking rate,
That's
meaning
ridiculous.
every 100 leads that I reach out to, I book 10 appointments.
That's
Before
insane.
I could barely get 1 to 2 replies, but now I'm booking 10 appointments for every
Yeah.
100 people that I reach out
Yeah.
to.
What your positive reply rate's what, like 25%?
Oh
These are
man,
like these like cold leads too. There's not like
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
yeah, for sure. I'm just gonna
And
pull it up right
that's
now
even
and
better
look
than
at.
mine,
Like
dude.
I
Like
literally
mine
have
is
it up
like
on my phone.
5%. Yeah, it's
I got it up on
insane,
my
man.
phone. So my positive reply rate is 38%, and then
Jeez.
from there it's and then my calendar send rate is 16%. Appointment booking rate, of course, is 10%, and at this
Ridiculous.
point now it's just scale. Like I haven't even like that was only with, and this is the crazy part.
Yeah. Now
It's only with 183 messages sent out on LinkedIn.
it's one account too, right?
One account. Like I
Dude.
haven't scaled it
Yeah.
yet.
My goodness, man. You're gonna make a lot
Yeah,
of money,
man.
man.
So it's just following the systems, honestly. I mean, there's nothing secret of that. I did. I just learned and did, just like
Yeah.
that. Like learn, right, like burn, man.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Awesome. So now that you've actually like seen success with this, and like we haven't even jumped into like half the stuff, like you said, like we haven't even like started the email.
No.
We have one account, man. Like we're gonna start getting like we're gonna have to start building some infrastructure first of all
Yeah.
for your clients,
Absolutely.
which we're gonna do. And then like once we got that, man, like you get like and once you get like 10, you're gonna get like a setter, and we're gonna get like 10 accounts, and it's gonna be like you're gonna blow up, man. These numbers are insane. I don't think a lot of
Yeah.
people are um I don't think people are like I think your niche is pretty untapped. And
Yeah.
like now there's a whole bunch of people that are gonna go shiny object and start working with
I
motivational
know, right?
speakers. But
I will say this one thing. You know what? I think the reason why my positive reply, because what is, I forgot what you mentioned, like your KPI should be. What is the positive reply rate KPI?
you can get 10%, that's good.
10%. Okay, got you. I think part of it, and this is, I know you mentioned some secret sauce. I think here's the secret sauce I can add. Those 183 messages that I told you that I sent just in the month of December,
Hmm.
all of them were video based messages.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. So I think that probably was one of the things that helped out because when people can not only hear your voice and
Mm.
see your face, it makes a difference. And I know I can't do that on all of the accounts that I scale, of course, but for the one that I own, at least for the face that they see on the LinkedIn profile, every single one of those have been LinkedIn video messages that I just did on my phone, like kind of just in my room, sitting
Yeah.
in a spot like this. And that was, I think that helps because not only people can hear your voice, but
Yeah.
they can see your face, and they're like, oh, they are real, and this was cool.
Yeah.
Most of the people, I'll say this, a lot of people told me, I've never received a message like this. This is so cool.
Yeah.
And I think that is what boosted that a bit because you did tell me that like voice
Because
notes.
there's so much there's a lot of like people just trying to like get away with using like AI now. And it's kind of like bouncing back where the market's like they're seeing this and they're like they want more personalization now. And we also have some stuff like you saw with you actually showed me this with the AI with the
Yeah,
moon videos. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we're doing with that with like
absolutely.
email and Loom and AI and all this cool stuff that's working really well to like add that extra personalization. But anyway, man, like yeah, like
Yeah,
100%. That's a big thing.
absolutely.
So now that you've done this, and you've actually like everything you told me on our initial strategy call, um, you basically achieved in a month and a half with like
Yeah,
Christmas also like in the middle of that.
the worst month of the year
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
What is the goal and how do you feel?
Man, that's a great question. Yep. So I'll start with feel. It's a breath of fresh air, honestly, knowing because I got kids. I mean, I got stuff that's like
Yeah,
online. Everybody may not have that story, of course, but I got a 4-year-old son. I'm about to get married soon. I literally just moved into a new house. As you see, a completely white wall behind me. Like
Yeah.
I had already like started the process of closing on this house when
Mm.
I actually joined this program. So that
Yeah,
was
I
even
remember you
more of a
telling me
reason
that.
for it to work, you know. So
Mm.
my butt was on the line. So the feeling, my goodness, it just feels like a breath of fresh air knowing that like the
Yeah.
system that you teach, here's the comfort behind that. The system that you teach, it's not just one way, the way that I was doing it, and then that way
Hmm.
went away, and then I had no like back,
Yeah.
no insurance basically.
Because everyone's got a different business, right? There's got to be more things.
Exactly. You teach omni-channel. So like for example, like today, TikTok got banned, right? So like for a lot of people that had that strategy, that's it. They just got to figure out a new business at that point. What
Mm.
you teach, it's going to last forever because you teach omni-channel and there's like defined systems omni-channel. So the feeling, it is a breath of fresh air knowing that like my
Yeah.
family's going to get taken care of. I don't ever have to worry about booking appointments again,
Yeah.
ever. Like, you know
That's
what I mean?
awesome, man.
So
Yeah.
that's the first thing. And then from there, goals, where I'm headed. So this year, like, I do want to do a quarter million in the speaking. I'm sorry, in the coaching business. So I've
Oh.
been able to hit a quarter
Yeah,
million in the speaking business.
you're gonna do that easily, man. You just do what
Yeah.
you're already doing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've had success in the speaking business as well because like it's a high ticket, you know, of course, service.
Yeah.
But because that dropped so much, like I was freaking out and everything, I didn't have a ton of savings just left over. Like it truly was a risk. Even hearing that, like it may sound like, oh, he was already making money. Nah, man, I like it was bad. Like I'm gonna be honest. Let's just get deep here. I almost went into the negative investing into this.
Mm. Yeah.
Like it wasn't just put on credit cards. Like I was buying a house. I couldn't put anything on a credit card.
Yeah.
I almost went to the negative.
Yeah.
It was like honestly a few like $150 left in my account when I made the decision to do this. So it
Mm.
truly was like an all-in decision. It wasn't just laying around.
Yeah.
And then of course, you know, like you mentioned, my goals now knowing that what's possible within this first month, it's just scaling what I'm already doing essentially. And like I'm gonna do a quarter million this year just in the coaching business.
Yeah.
That's totally separate from the speaking business as well. But the
Yeah.
cool thing is that the strategies from what you taught me for the coaching business, I'm gonna use for the speaking business. So hopefully we
Yeah.
can scale, man. Hopefully I'm your first seven-figure client. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, dude, that would be really cool. And I don't doubt it at all. With the way that you're currently going. Um, yeah, man. Like if you just do what you're already doing, you just get 4 accounts. It's like you just need the infrastructure.
Yeah, that's
That's it. Yeah.
it.
That's awesome,
Absolutely.
dude.
Which is wild. So
Absolutely, absolutely insane. Well, I think that's all the questions I had for you, man. If you can think of, I'm just gonna do the outro real quick. If you can think of like one golden nugget, like one super good piece of advice, for everyone watching. Actually, one more question. Yeah, I guess what would you say? Okay, yeah, two more questions. Sorry.
all
What
good.
would
No,
you
let's
say? What's
roll.
one thing? What's one thing you would say to anyone who's like on the fence, who's maybe like considering who's maybe considering investing or maybe even considering just booking a call and they've maybe been watching me for a couple months now and they haven't wanted to talk to me for whatever reason like I guess what would you say to someone in that position?
Great question. Yeah. So for people that are having like what I call trust issues, right? So it makes sense. So like I would
Yeah.
say this, the best way to know, well, number one, you're never going to 100% know that somebody's going to deliver. Like even
Yeah.
with the results that I'm saying right now, I had that mindset. I just didn't know. You're never going to 100% know. But there has to be a level of faith because remember we talked about earlier, miracles are not possible without faith. You have to have some level of faith to fill in the gap. But the advice that I would give is just test the fruit. And what I mean by that is it's like, you know, test Josh's level of of competency in what he's talking about. Like
Mm.
ask him questions that you think he try to stump him, I was just saying. Try to stump him.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about. Like ask him all the questions that you need to ask him. He knows his stuff. But test the fruit and also being able to like see testimonials like myself. Like I say everything that I'm saying humbly. Like talk to the people, test the fruit, see what they're saying essentially. And then from there, once you have an idea of his level of competency, the level of results that other people are getting, at that point, like if you still don't move forward with a guarantee like his that says, hey, like you're still gonna get X result or else like you don't lose anything. At this point, it's all on you, and what's holding you back is FEAR. That's all
Mm.
it is. And if you allow fear to hold you back, you're never going to get the life that you've ever dreamed of. And at that point, you're holding you back. So like when you think about it, you know, you got this bridge, and like you're on one side of the bridge, and everything you've ever wanted for your business is on the other side of the bridge. Like Josh can't help you cross that bridge. Once you set up everything to make sure you can see that this is going to work after you've tested the fruit And you're the only person that can walk across that bridge. And if you think about the 2.0 version of yourself, think about the 2.0 version of yourself. Like what, and this is what I did. I just thought, like, what does the 2.0 Donovan look like? He's somebody that makes decisions that are informed. He's somebody that does not allow fear to be able to stop him. He's somebody that's going to like make the move and he's going to do what he said he's going to do whenever he joins the program and not be the person to just halfway do it. That's the 2.0 version. So what does that
Yeah.
2.0 version of you look like? And ask yourself, if that 2.0 version of you looked back and sat here on this day considering a decision of moving forward with Josh's program, what would they do?
Yeah.
Right? Half of you are probably saying, or even 90% of you are probably saying, well, I'd probably do it. Well, now the question is what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Does
Do
that
the
make
same
sense? If
thing
the
for sure.
2.0 version would do it, why wouldn't you right now? Because you have to get to that 2.0 somewhere. So my advice would be this: have a level of faith and just test the fruit. That'd be the first thing. And then
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully that answers that question.
No, that really good. Yeah, that answers the question. If you make decisions the same way that you made decisions in order that's like got you up until this point right now, you feel like you could get like accomplish so much more, then you're just gonna stay in that spot, right? In order for
Yeah.
for your life to change, you have to change. So that's really good. But yeah, if you can think of like one like golden nugget, like one insane, super helpful piece of information to anyone watching, to anyone who needs help getting more meetings, who wants to scale their business, their marketing agency, or their coaching business. I'm going to do the outro real quick and then
Yeah,
say that at the end, and I'll ask you for it. So this is
absolutely.
it. Other than Donovan's little secret that he's going to share very soon. So if you are in a place, right, that's anything like you relate to anything that he said today, and you are just sick of being stuck, and you know that you could accomplish so much more with your business, and you feel like you you feel like you're in a place where you can accomplish a lot more. You feel like you're in a place where we're getting like 1 to 2 meetings, 3 meetings. Like right now, we're getting like 10 meetings a day on our calendar. If that would change your life, I would encourage you just to talk. You're not committing to buy anything, but if you just click the funnel below, I'll be transparent. It's a funnel. It's gonna get you to book a call with me. But if you just talk to me, and look at the opportunity and just see what it's about, there's no like the worst case scenario is you maybe lose 20 minutes, right? The best case scenario is you end up in 1 to 2 months, you end up on one of these podcasts like Donovan. And Donovan, one more thing. If anyone wants to find you or like find you on social media or anything like that, where is the best place to go?
Yeah, I'd say best place to go. Honestly, I'm on LinkedIn.
Cool.
I'm a speaker, so I own a business. So I'd say LinkedIn would probably be the best. You can just find me at Donovan Tolbert or any other social media would do. My at symbol is at the number one, and then Donovan Tolbert. So DONOVAN TOLBERT.
Awesome.
Is the best place to go. And from there, if you want to email me as well too, my team will catch the email and whatnot. It's just booking@donovantolbert.com. And that's
Sweet.
usually the best place to
I'll put his LinkedIn in the description so you guys can check that out.
yeah.
And go follow him there. All right. Well, yeah, Donovan, can you share that one piece of advice that you thought about? What's gonna be helpful?
Yeah, I would say this. One piece of advice. This is probably the best advice I would give anybody. I would give my children this advice when they get older, and it's that um, once you test the fruit, you have to jump before you're ready. You
Mm,
have to. I mean, you're not going to be. Everything's not going to be perfect. The decision is never going to be comfortable. It's never going to be feeling like butterflies and rainbows when you're about to get started with anything that's worth a good investment. And any good investment has a good return. And as you guys can see on this call, like I was able to get an amazing return within 30 days. And as you're hearing a trend, if you hear multiple successful people speak, they just jumped before they were ready after they tested the fruit. So it wasn't just blind faith, of course. Test the fruit, find out his competency level, find
yeah.
out the results of the people, talk to the people that he's helped out as well too. Do whatever you need to do to test the fruit. But then once you have that decision pretty much made that like, yeah, this is pretty legit, you got to jump before you're ready because if you don't jump before you're ready, you'll be stuck in this cycle of fear and you'll be stuck in this cycle of mediocrity or whatever your situation is right now, which I don't
Mm,
know what it is. You'll be stuck in it. And obviously, if you're considering this program, you're wanting more. So if you're wanting more, you got to do something different. And with that, you just got to jump before you're ready. And that's the advice I would give my kids. if you just stick with that one simple piece of advice and apply that in areas of your life where things can help you, you'll do what most people don't. Look behind Josh. To
Yeah.
become the 1%, you must do what the 99 won't, and the 99 will not jump before they're ready. And if you just become the 1% and just make the jump after you've tested the fruit, you'll get different things. It's just life and the way that it's set up.
Yeah.
That's what I
Awesome,
got.
dude.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Well, that's amazing. And I really appreciate you joining on the podcast today, Donovan. It's been a pleasure having you. And I'm looking forward to part two, maybe in a few months, once you're at
Yeah, man.
50K a month. And I'm looking forward to it, dude. But yeah, other than that, everyone, I hope this was helpful. And yeah, again, Donovan, thanks for joining. And I will see you guys all in the next podcast or in the next YouTube video. All right. Bye.
Take it easy, guys.